All right, so I am super stoked because I created my own app. And it's sort of the app, I think I may have talked about this on another video, me like attempting to create it, but it's the app that I've always wanted for like since I was in college. This is like the app I've wanted and I finally have it. So I kind of want to just like yap about it in this video. I'm gonna say this up front, it's not available to you. It's not available. You cannot download it. It's not going to be in the App Store. It's my own personal app, but I wanted to talk about it and I wanted to explain more about how I created it, what the purpose of it is, and how it, at least the steps I use to create it, how that benefits you. So my app is called, since it's for my own personal use, Leviticus, the art of connection. And I'm gonna see if I can put this here in the camera without it like glaring. It might be flipped a little bit, so I might flip the camera. But it's not like super crazy. But yeah, basically it's a CRM. And if you're watching this and you don't know what a CRM is, the acronym, I've seen different ways to define the acronym. Client relationship management software, customer relationship management software, customer relationship manager, whatever. Not super important. But basically what it is, it's almost like a database where you put in people's contact information. Like if you're a business owner, you might put in your client's name, their interests, their age, birthday, whatever. If you're using it for personal reasons, put in their name, their address, their phone number. It's pretty much like a very sophisticated phone book. But the reason why I made this and the reason why I'm super stoked that I have it at this point, is because one thing I've learned in my life is your personal relationships are probably the highest ROI thing you could possibly invest in. I've been talking about this for years. I created a course years ago, going a lot deeper. And this is not me pitching the course. I don't care if you buy the course or not. I'll give it to you for free if you ask for it. I really don't care. And I've talked about this in like other videos on my channel as well, so you can just check it out on my channel. But I've talked about this idea of eudaimonia meaning the good life. It's kind of a Greek philosophy term. And as a part of eudaimonia, there's health, wealth, and relationships. Those are the three things, in my personal opinion, you should always be striving for if you want to live the highest quality life. You have to be healthy. You have to be in at least decent shape. Going to the gym, trying to look as best as you can. You need finances. You don't need to be rich. I want to emphasize that. Too many of you guys out there are trying to get like rich. And I'm not saying don't get rich. I'm not saying you shouldn't strive to be wealthy. But there's something about the pursuit of just trying to make money at all costs that's highly detrimental to you and highly detrimental to society. I do not recommend this. Make enough money to do the things you want to do, to accomplish your goals, and to live a comfortable life, whatever that looks like to you. You have to do your own calculations. But you don't need to be Jeff Bezos. You don't need to be a multi-billionaire. You don't need to be a trillionaire. I don't think that's the best route to take for most of you watching this. But that's the wealth pillar. And then the final pillar, the most underrated pillar in my personal opinion that has the highest ROI, is relationships. And the reason why I say this is because all good things you want in life come through other people. If you want more money, for example, you need other people to give you the money in some way. If you're a business owner, you need to interact with other people who have money so that way they can give you their money in exchange for, hopefully, a valuable good or valuable service. A lot of people out there try to rip people off. A lot of you guys out there that are entrepreneurs nowadays or business owners are just fucking scam artists, and you guys don't sell anything of value, which is why I think the economy is the way it is now. I think it's why society is the way it is now. Everyone's trying to get money by doing very little to benefit people. That's why OnlyFans and like pranksters and like all these shitty YouTubers exist. But in an ideal world, you're giving something of value to get something of value back. That thing back being money. But people also give you access to things. Not all people can be bought. But if you have a good relationship with people, that gives you access to different insights. That gives you access to just different pleasurable experiences. If you want to just go on a vacation with somebody, going on vacation, I'll say this is my personal experience, with the right people makes or breaks the vacation or the trip. Like, you can go to the best place on the planet. If you go with the wrong people, it'll be a shit trip. It won't be fun. You can go to the worst place on the planet. If you go with the right people, it's a super fun trip. That's just my personal opinion. That's my observation. I think I'm correct. And I think most people, if they really thought about it, they'd agree with me. But the point that I'm making is that your relationships matter significantly. I've said this before in the past as well. Me personally, if I can go back in time and go back to college, I would invest almost no time into classes. I would do enough to pass, but I wouldn't take them that seriously. I would invest like 80% of my time, like that Pareto coefficient. I would invest 80% of my time meeting people and staying in touch with those people, being like friends with those people, like really connecting with them, getting to know them, and staying in touch with them. A lot of people go to college, they focus on their grades, they focus on their degree because society told you that your grades matter. They don't. When you get out of college, most of these employers don't give a fuck about what grades you got. Most of them nowadays don't care about your degree. So that's a whole different story. I'm not trying to go down that rabbit hole. But your grades really don't matter, but the people you meet do matter. I've talked about this in other videos. A lot of statistics clearly articulate that most long-term successful careers do not come from your degree. They do not come from your extracurriculars, but what they do come is from your connections. Like you probably get hired in long-term companies because you know somebody who knows somebody who knows someone that can get you into that company, regardless of what your resume looks like. I've known tons of people who are like this where their resume is like basically non-existent, but their buddy knows like the supervisor or their buddy knows like the hiring manager or something, or their buddy knows like the owner or their buddy, like they know someone who can pull strings and they just let them in. They're like, screw the resume, you're cool, I think you can do the job. If you can't, I'll teach you. Come join our company. And they stay there forever. They have access to higher salaries quicker because they're just friends. Like they just have higher favor. So hopefully you get like the point that I'm making about relationships. Super valuable, very underrated, and it's something worth investing in if you're not already investing in it. And I think for a lot of people in the modern era, they don't invest in it. Most people are kind of socialized. And I think COVID did a lot to intentionally or unintentionally exacerbate this problem. People don't like to be social. People like to stay inside and they like to be as detached as possible. And that's a massive mistake. I think that's going to hurt you more than it helps, especially if you're someone who's ambitious and especially if you're someone who wants like success. It doesn't matter what success looks like to you. If you want any form of success, meeting people and knowing people is the best like action you can take. So I learned this after I graduated college. And I remember like after graduating, I was looking for a CRM where I could like put people in it, but there's an extra feature that my CRM has that I've never seen any other CRM have. And I think I think that's what makes my app way better than like every other app I've seen. And I'll share that in a second. But the issue with most CRMs is that one, they're clunky. Two, they just look like shit. They're very hard to navigate. It just feels like a glorified spreadsheet and it looks super ugly, very difficult to navigate. You're repelled. You don't want to actually use the app, which defeats the purpose, or the CRM, so it defeats the purpose of even having it. But what my app does that's super cool, especially now with AI, is when you put in a name and you can speak into it, because I like to be able to speak into it when I'm like walking around, so if my hands aren't or if my hands are occupied, or if I just don't want to like be typing stuff. So I can speak into it or I can type into it. There's different prompts that ask you to answer questions about the person. Things like, where did you meet? What did you like about this person? What do they talk about? What are their interests? And it takes all that information and it uses AI to find these people online too, which is kind of dope. Like if you put in their social media, it'll scan their social media as well, or their social medias if you give multiple social medias. And it'll give you information about them based on all the stuff. Like it'll find stuff on Google if they're popular enough, or if their social media presence or if their online presence is that big and easy enough to find. It'll find all that stuff and it'll take a combination of that plus what you provided it and pretty much build like a profile of that person. And so I'll give an example. If I were to meet basically like my clone, and let's say we're at a bar, I meet my clone. I'll say, I met this guy, Leviticus Rich. I met him at this bar. Pretty cool guy, likes to talk about like comics. He likes anime. He likes philosophy. He likes science. He's an entrepreneur. He has Productivity Accelerator, one of the best companies on the planet. He's an author. He likes to work out. He lived in Japan. You feed it like a bunch of information based on the conversation you had with that individual. And I'll give it my social media. So it'll build a profile of Leviticus Rich. And the cool thing is that it'll say, okay, so next time you talk to Leviticus Rich, talk to him about A, B, and C. It might give you it'll give you 3 suggestions, for example. It'll say, talk to him about his comic that he's writing that he told you about. talk to him about his company that he told you about, like how his sales might be or what he's been struggling with or how you can help him. Or talk to him about maybe his YouTube channel, just throwing random stuff out there. And the idea behind it is that when I go to meet people, this is my personal opinion from like just stuff I've learned about like interacting with people and socializing. A lot of people, what they do is when they meet people, they talk about themselves. So they look very selfish because you're yapping about who you are as an individual because you're trying to like appeal to people and you're trying to like seem cool or seem like favorable to that person. I personally think that's a massive mistake. It's something I talked about stuff like this in the past too, with like pickup. When I did pickup, that was like a lesson of pickup. You don't go to dates talking about yourself. You go on dates and you talk about the girl. And I think really a lot of stuff in like pickup, I've talked about this in other videos as well. It's just general human psychology that applies to everybody. Like it's not a gender thing. If I were to talk to a guy about himself. People like to talk about themselves. And it makes you look like a good listener. Because you are listening, because you're talking to them. Assuming you're not like nodding off or making faces or just like zoning out. People like that. People like to talk about themselves. People like to share their experiences. And I think a lot of people aren't in a setting to really share a lot about themselves without feeling selfish. Some people just talk about themselves, but then you look like a narcissist. When you're asked about yourself and you're given that platform to share, I think you build a better connection and bond that way. And the app gives you an incentive to do so. It's asking you things about that person based on your conversations and getting them to open up about it. And it prevents you from not knowing what to talk about if you ever want to reach back out. And it gives you time frames in which you should reach out. So it might say, oh, you haven't talked to Leviticus in like 2 weeks, but you have him marked as like a really, we'll say, cool person that you really want to interact with and build rapport with or build a relationship with. Go reach out to him and you can talk to him about A, B, or C, or all of the above. So it gives you a good platform to like ask those questions and to build that relationship in a way that's not like super difficult. Because I've had that problem with people in the past where like I wanted to keep in contact with them and I knew things about them, but I wasn't really sure like how to initiate the conversation, especially when you haven't talked to someone for like a year or so. I know for me, I had like a weird fear of reaching out because I didn't want to feel like I'm trying to sell something. And I only have this fear because a lot of people do that to me and I hate it a lot. Like you won't talk to someone in like 5 years. And the moment you reach out or the moment they reach out to you, they're like, hey man, I was thinking about you. By the way, I'm in network marketing. Do you want to like be financially free? And it's like, shut the fuck up, bro. No, I'm not interested. And it's like, you only reached out to me to like sell me something. I don't want to talk to you now. So I get nervous myself because I feel like when I'm reaching out to someone, they might think I'm trying to sell something and I'm not. Sometimes there's people I just like and I just want to keep in contact. Like last year, my old roommate from college, I reached out to him and I was like, bro, we got to hang out. Nothing to sell him. I just wanted to hang out because I hadn't seen him in like a decade. And it wasn't like there was any bad blood or anything. You know, you just moved. Like we're both in college. He moved to like Pittsburgh. I moved to Virginia. And for whatever reason, you start interacting with new people. Your brain doesn't retain the old people you used to hang out with, and you kind of just lose touch. And it's sad. I think that's the downside of being like, I think that's the downside of modern America is everyone is forced to kind of like move far away. So you lose touch with like really good friends. And then you build like, you know, new relationships, and it's hard to kind of like get back into that flow with your old friends. I don't know. I just don't like it. And I think it's a missed opportunity from just from a networking perspective, if you want to go that route, but also just from like a personal life satisfaction perspective. But the app gives you things to talk about to kind of build that connection back up without sounding like salesy or without feeling like you're pitching anybody anything and you're asking them about themselves. I mentioned that it marks the last time you've talked to them, so that way you don't have to let too much time go by, or you can really keep track of like that last time you've interacted. Like it'll say, oh, you haven't interacted with this person in like 3 months, and it'll put them on this list. Like when you log into the app, it'll put them on this list where it's like, hey, you should interact with them like today because you haven't talked to them in a while and they're worth talking to based on what you suggested. Like based on when you put them in the app, you said you wanted to keep in contact with them. So keep in contact with them. Another cool feature is when you do it always pushes you to try to meet people in person. This is my personal philosophy. A lot of people are very anti-AI. I'm not. I'm very pro-AI, but I think you should also be wise about what AI can do and like the impact it might have on your life and the lives of people around you. And what I think people should do is use AI to your personal advantage, but also keep a foot in the actual real world. And so what I mean by this is I think there's going to come a point very soon where everything online is going to be basically fake. The social media profiles are going to be fake, which means that the experiences you see that you're comparing yourself to are going to be fake. They were already fake because people used to fake their lives, but now they're going to be like especially fake because the lives you're comparing yourself to won't even be real people at all. They won't exist, period. So you're going to be comparing yourself to a standard that you cannot live up to. It will be literally impossible. The content you see on YouTube is going to be fake. The information is going to be fake. The news channels, the news stories are going to be fake. Everything's going to be fake, or at the very least, it's going to be highly exaggerated to the point where reality and fiction are difficult to like really determine. And so my solution to that, my counter is you got to go out into the real world and you got to meet real people and you got to interact with these real people. That's the only way you'll be able to know what's real is by interacting with real people. Like if you see your friend online, your friend might use social media like AI or like AI filters or something to change the way they look for whatever reason. And I do it too. I'm not gonna lie, I do it too because I think it's just a natural progression of how things are. Everyone's already fake on social media, so why not use AI to make the fakeness easier to achieve? But the way you get around that is just talk to them in real life, and then you can actually have a real interaction, a real relationship. So I think that's why another reason why I wanted the app. It's like a counter, and it always pushes you to meet people in the real world. And one of the cool features that I added to the app is based on where they live and based on where you live, it takes like the average distance and it suggests things that you can do together based on their interests, like a collective interest, but more on their interests. So another example, if I met a guy who was like a musician, and say I live in Virginia, I live in Northern Virginia, say he lived in like DC, it might find concerts or events between where I live in Loudoun County and where he lives in DC, and it might suggest that. It might be like, oh, you put in the app that he likes Iron Maiden or he likes Bon Jovi. I'm making up bands. There's a Bon Jovi concert or a Bon Jovi event here in DC on like whatever date at this place. You should invite him to go to that, or you should at least bring it up in conversation. Like it gives you things to talk about, so conversation's a lot easier to jump into, and it gives you things that will elicit them to open up to you. So I thought that was a cool feature. So I just kind of wanted to like yap about that. I think it's a pretty cool tool. It took me about a month to really build. I was kind of sitting on it for a while, and I'll explain like what I did. Like how I built it was actually quite simple. And I think you should take advantage of it yourself if you're watching this. But it took me about a month, less than that really, to build. Really, I sat on it because I didn't know how to publish it. To this day, I don't really understand like how publishing like apps work. And I didn't want it in the App Store, but I wanted it to be available on my phone. So eventually what I did is I found a way to publish it as just a link. And then I saved the link as like a desktop icon. It's like a bookmark. Like the link itself goes straight to I'm not even showing it. The link itself goes like straight to the app. But the link is like a bookmark on my homepage of my phone. So I don't have to go like online per se. Like I still need internet access, but I don't need to like go on Google and type in like the URL or like look for the app specifically. It's just a shortcut, basically. So it makes it super nice to use it. But yeah, as far as how I created it, I've talked about this before in another video, but I use Google AI Studio. And if you're someone who's not using Google AI Studio or like a similar type of app or software, whatever you want to call it, web tool, change that. Like use it. I was talking to friends about Google AI Studio. I've created several apps and tools with Google AI Studio. They don't take very long to make. If you have an idea, the cool thing is you can, and this is not an endorsement. I'm not sponsored by Google. I wish I was. That'd be kind of dope, but I'm not, sadly. But it's just that good of a tool. You can have an idea and you can put it into Google AI Studio. If I were you, what I would recommend is use like Copilot or ChatGPT. Give that your idea first and have Copilot or ChatGPT or Claude, whatever, really flesh out a good prompt for your idea. Like give it all the details for your idea. Let those tools give you a prompt and then put that prompt into Google AI Studio and it'll build out the app for you. And it does a very good job at building it. Even if it messes up its own code, it'll automatically notice it. Like when you go to interact with the app, if the code's not working for some reason and it prevents you from like logging in, or if it prevents you from like a screen opening up, like you might want to click to a different screen and the button's not working, it'll recognize what you're trying to do. It'll recognize that it didn't work the way it was intended to work, and it'll fix itself. Like you don't have to ask it. It'll just be like, oh, this is messed up. Let me fix that for you, which is super dope. I'll make another video on this, but I made like a whole video game with Google AI Studio, and it didn't take that long. And it's not like it's not like a super simple video game. It's a somewhat logic based, like, I'm not going to call it like the most complex game ever because I don't know what counts as a complex game. Certainly not something you'd find on like PlayStation or Nintendo. Nothing that crazy by any means, but it's a pretty decent game, I would say. I'm biased, but I would say it's a pretty decent game. And yeah, Google AI Studio built it pretty easily, and it's pretty intuitive, pretty easy to interface with or interact with. But yeah, that's how I built the app. I kind of explained in ChatGPT exactly what I explained to you, of course, a lot more concisely. And once I got some prompts, I put that into Google AI Studio. It built me like a version 1. And then as I went to play with the app, there was like little things that I either didn't like or I liked or wanted to tweak a little bit. And I would just ask, similar to using ChatGPT or Claude or any other tool, fix this or edit this, change the color of this. And you can do it as bullets. You know, you don't obviously play around with it yourself, but you do that enough. And I also have like it attached to Firebase, another, I guess, web tool, software. I don't know what you want to call it. As you can see, I'm not like, I don't know. This probably adds more credibility to how good like these tools are because I don't know anything about apps at all. Like I'm super ignorant about like how apps work, how they function, but it kind of does all the heavy lifting for you. If you have an idea, you just put your idea into these apps and it's not going to, like on the very first try, it's not going to give you the exact tool you want. It's going to take like hours of you like tweaking it, asking for different things, iterating on it. But it's easier than you learning how to code yourself, and it's far cheaper than you hiring someone to do it for you. So worth doing. Now, the beauty of all this, the reason why I'm saying all this, is because if you're someone watching this video right now and you're someone who feels like you want to get ahead or you feel like you don't have any opportunities or any means, if you're watching this, you have at least one big thing that's advantageous to you, which is probably a phone or a computer and the internet. And as of now, at the time of recording this video, Google AI Studio is free. I doubt it'll be free forever. They're probably going to charge very soon because it's that good of a tool. I'm not sponsored. I'm not kidding when I say this. It's a really fucking good tool that you should be using. Once they decide to start charging, you're kind of screwed because everyone's going to start charging at that point, and the barrier to entry is going to just be unfathomably high. While it's free, what I recommend you do if you're watching this, if you're someone who wants to try to get ahead, build a bunch of apps. Whatever ideas you can come up with, build them. Build them on Google AI Studio. And if you need help like trying to set things up, what I've done when I was building this app as well, I would just open Copilot in like a different like window, and I would ask it questions like, oh, how do I install, like how do I enable like a login feature? Because sometimes like when I was doing the CRM, I wanted a login feature, but when you go to click like the login button with Google, you have to connect it to Firebase, and Firebase needs to do like this authorization thing. I didn't know what that was. I didn't know what Firebase existed. I had Microsoft Copilot up in a separate window. I would just ask it, I would like screenshot the problem and ask it, how do I solve this? And it would say, oh, go to this link, do this, click this, push this, you should be good to go. And like magic, it worked. But yeah, build a bunch of apps with Google AI Studio, my personal suggestion, and try to sell them. Try to sell them or try to at least like market them and see what could work. I think the beautiful thing about tools, like the beautiful thing with AI is that it allows you to iterate and put out so much stuff so quickly. You can test things much faster. I think a lot of entrepreneurship is really just testing things over and over again until you find something that works relatively well. And then my personal take, once you find something that works at least slightly well, if it's something that you can see yourself like pursuing, pursue it, like hit it hard. So say, in the past, if you were someone who's like coding, it might take you like months to make like one app, and the app might not work at all. It might get no attention, it might get no traction, it might be a terrible app. So I won't say you've wasted months, because you probably still learned something in those months, but it cost you months for pretty much no concrete return. With AI, you can technically build an app if you're like diligent enough and focused enough in like a day. Rather than take months to build one app, in months you could build 30 apps or 40 apps or 50 apps, depending on your diligence and your focus and your, all that stuff. You can launch all of them, or at least test them out, at least share them with people, see what works. You can iterate much faster. If you do like 50 to 100 apps, there's probably going to be at least one that'll work. Think about it this way. Some dude made Flappy Birds, and I think he was like a millionaire. What is Flappy Birds? It's just a very basic video game where there's a bird that looks like a Cheep Cheep from Mario. You hit A, or you tap the screen, and it goes up in a very predictable increment. As the background is static, and as the pipes probably just appear from the right side of the screen to the left in a very random manner. And there's a score counter. It's a very simple game when you really think about it. I'm pretty sure you can make a Flappy Birds-esque game on Google AI Studio in like 10 minutes. I'm not even exaggerating. You probably could make it in 10 minutes because you can just type in, make me a game like Flappy Birds. Now that dude put Flappy Birds on like the app store, and I think he made like millions. I think, don't quote me on this, but I think he made like millions, and eventually he took it down, but he made a lot of money. It was a very popular app. But my point is, you probably could make an app super similar to that. You probably could make a game similar. It doesn't have to be a game, but the point is, if you made 50 to 100 apps, at least one is probably going to be decent. It's probably going to make you at least some money. But what was the cost? Just a little bit of time, a few words in Google AI Studio, a little bit of patience to test out a couple different apps or 100 different apps. It didn't cost months. It might have cost days, might have cost weeks. Maybe to make 100, it might have cost a few months. But I'd rather make 100 apps in 3 months or 4 months, have one strike gold, than spend 4 to 6 months making one app just for it to be a dud, and then I have to try to make another app that might be a dud and repeat that process over and over for years and eventually burn out. Does that make sense? Like, does that math like make sense to you? So I don't know. That's my recommendation. Try that out. I think that could work. I'm not saying that it's something that I personally did. This is not me coming from like personal experience of like, oh, I made an app and sold it for like $1 billion. Like, no, I didn't do that. But I think people could do it. I'm not interested in doing that. Like I mentioned, I think my CRM is dope. I think I probably could sell it. I've contemplated like putting it on the app, maybe like rebranding it slightly, calling it something different, putting it on the App Store. I might still. I don't know yet because I kind of like my app and I kind of just want me to have it because I feel like it's that good. I don't really want the competition, if I'm being completely honest. But I could do it, or I could make other apps and I could put it online and make money off of it. And I probably will with other stuff. But yeah, I think it's still a good idea. I think it's still worth trying. But I've yapped enough for this video. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Let me know if you want help like setting this up. This is not me like trying to pitch anything, by the way. Leave a comment below and I'll walk through as much as I can to help you at least get started. If you like the video, click the like button. If you dislike it, click the dislike button. Who cares? People dislike stuff that is gold. Shame on you if you do dislike it. And if you do want to see more content like this, click subscribe. I'm always dropping videos like this. I try to drop like 2 a week. But with Productivity Accelerator and my comic that I'm currently making, I do get stretched for time. So I don't always have time to make these videos. I don't always have stuff to talk about, but you'll see more content like this in the future. So click the link, subscribe, leave a comment if you want to, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out. Bye-bye.